Good morning and a very warm welcome to you. And I pray that today is the best day of our life. Every moment is the best moment of our life. And every experience that we have today will make us the better version of ourselves. We will choose to respond instead of reacting. We will choose to be in allowance. Where everything is only an interesting point of view. We will choose to go beyond our judgments. So I think it's good to realize what happens that when we're in a state of constant judgment. Okay. So let's take these calls, for example, my calls and my recordings, which are being posted everywhere. Now, you could be watching it in order to critique it, right? Or in order to judge it. Or you could be watching it in order to learn something from it. Okay. Similarly, that every interaction that we have with people, whether they are your seniors or your juniors or your peers, you can be in that conversation and you're so busy judging what that person is saying, or you're so busy judging how that person is saying it, that you miss that learning that could be there in those words. I'm a very firm believer that every meeting, every experience that's happening to us, now is happening for a reason. Okay. So if I meet someone and that someone is talking to me, he has a message for me and I have a message for him. Now, if we are busy judging each other, are we going to receive the message that the person has for us? So before we speak anymore, I think it's a good time to close our eyes and spend a few seconds to feel grateful for being alive, for being grateful that we have this wonderful playground called the planet Earth to play in, to feel grateful that, this great adventure that we have chosen to live has been given to us. A few moments to give some gratitude and love to this body, which has been housing us and it's been our vehicle for, traveling through this life journey. Let us give gratitude to all the life players who are there with us, whether they work with us, or whether they live with us, whether they are relatives or friends. It's one big network of relationships that we have. Right? Now, whether we make that network of relationships supportive to everybody or we don't, it all depends on whether we are just judging people or we are allowing them to contribute to our lives, or we are contributing to their lives. So you can open your eyes now and allow yourself to feel the feeling that you now feel. At this very moment, there are some, your body has certain sensations. Allow yourself to feel that. And that is something called love. Okay. So if you take this, let's take this conscious energy of love and allow it to radiate out of us, radiate that love to each and every person at this very moment. Those who are with us on this call, those who are not there with us, those who are important to us, those whose importance we realize, and those whose importance we don't realize. But nevertheless, they are very much a part of my network of my life. Therefore, let me give my love to them. I'd rather be busy loving people rather than judging them. I'd rather be busy giving a gift of my listening to them rather than judging them. I'd rather be busy, you know, giving my love, my affection, rather than judging them. I'd rather put my attention on how can I serve this person or how can I serve these people instead of busy judging them. So, for a few minutes, I invite every one of you to become aware of how many unconscious judgments we have about people. It is just there, and it's so much prevalent we don't even realize it's there. So you meet a person, let's say you're driving past a slum, and you notice your unconscious judgments coming into play over there. When I realized this the other day, I was going to the airport and we had to pass through Dharavi, automatically something gets switched on over there. It's a judgment. Yeah, when you go to the airport, all prevalent. What if we were to drop that judgment or at least become aware? Okay. That's a very interesting point of view I have at this moment. If you want to give something, give your love, no? Why are we giving our judgment? Sometimes I think, if you convert your judgment into a positive feedback, I don't mean positive like only appreciative feedback, even if it's a critical feedback given by love, with love, it's coming from my desire to give or to contribute. So let's now start to dwell on this. Now, if I start operating out of serving, giving, if I start operating out of giving love to each and every person, I'm very fond of one of those things that a very famous author by the name of Og Mendino, he says that I will greet each day with love in my heart. It's a very interesting scroll. Those of you who have the book, you probably do, right? I will greet this day with love in my heart. I will greet this person with love in my heart. I'm very fond of telling people and reminding them also that, listen, you are a wonderful, magnificent, extraordinary human being who deserves to be loved and respected for who you are. So every time I approach someone, every time I'm in the presence of someone and I'm looking at that person, and in my heart are these words, here is a wonderful, magnificent, extraordinary human being, and he deserves my love and he deserves my respect. Okay. How would it change the way I'm being with that person? And the very interesting thing is, how will it change the way that person is going to be with me? And I've been doing it for years and seeing that, the way people show up for me is very positive. They say that as you give, so shall you receive. जैसा करोगे वैसा भरोगे. Imagine you're sending out love and appreciation and respect. Your default mode becomes love and appreciation. What possibilities will open up? How much more learning will you get? So if you think about it, if you are in a receiving mode, you will be in a state of love and appreciation. Or will you be in a state of judgment and criticism if you wish to be in the receiving mode? If you're in a taking mode, I guarantee you, you will be in a state of judgment and criticism. And how is this person useful to me? You know, मुझे कुछ देने के लायक है कि नहीं? I mean, after all, why do we judge? I mean, why do we always keep critiquing people? Long time back, I think the foundation of my life changed when I attended a program, and that person says, your opinions don't make a damn difference in this world. Your judgments don't make any difference to anybody. And yet you look at the amount of opinions we carry. Opinions are fine, I suppose, as long as you don't think that they are the truth. As long as you don't think कि जो मैं सोचता हूँ वही सच है, So is receiving important or taking important? Receiving comes effortlessly. Taking comes with effort. Right? A lot of these things which I'm saying to you all are coming from the realization that, you and I can have a magical life. You can have a logical life or you can have a magical life. Which would you choose? A choice between a magical life and a logical life. Which one will you choose?
Magical.
Thank you, Asina ji. Let's hear some of the other, logical people. I used to be very proud that I'm a very logical person. Yes, Mr. K. Subramaniam, go ahead. Kasa Sai, sorry.
Logically magical.
I wish that. Would you care to explain that? What do you mean like logically magic?
No, see, when you get tuned, when you connect with yourself, when you go more being yourself, your logic itself will become a magic. People think which is not possible can just happen just like that.
Yeah, if you give up your attachment to your logic,
Yeah.
and you notice that it's just an interesting point of view I have about this.
Exactly.
Right. Beautiful. Write your full name now. What is this KS? Nobody knows who's KS. Okay. Kasa
Yes.
Sai is a better name. Sai.
Yes.
Thank you. So just imagine, if you can, you giving up the incessant judgment and replacing it with love and service vibrations. So you could just be with people respectfully and lovingly rather than be with people like a user, Is this fellow useful? Is he doing what I want? The words of George Bernard Shaw, impressed me back in 1982 when I started my journey, and it goes something like this. This is the true joy in life. The being used for a purpose, recognized as a mighty one. The being a force of nature rather than a feverish, selfish little clod full of grievances and ailments, complaining that the world will not devote itself to making me happy. But that was the time I realized that that's the kind of person I used to be. The world will not devote itself to making me happy. My life is not a brief candle for me, he says. It is a splendid torch that I shall make to burn as brightly as possible before I pass it on to future generations. Now think about it. If you're going to be judging, right? Won't you end up being a feverish, selfish little clod full of grievances and ailments? See, I've been observing a very, very interesting phenomena. People who are judging all the time, they always find out reasons not to be happy. Think about it. If you're judging all the time, you will find out a lot of reasons not to be happy. Why? Because you are judging against your own yardstick, right? What does that mean? You have your reference point, which you got from your past, and you think it is the standard and everybody should fit into that standard. If they don't fit that standard, you'll be unhappy, isn't it? Remember what causes upsets? Unfulfilled. Upsets are caused by what? Broken promises, unfulfilled expectations. So when you have a judgment is what? When somebody is not coming up to your expectation, there is a judgment, right? Oh, he should be doing like this. Good people should be doing like this. Bad people do like this. He's a bad person. So bad person is there in my life, so I'm unhappy. Useless fellow is there in my life, so I'm unhappy. Interesting, isn't it? Even our judgments about what is considered to be attractive and not attractive, have you noticed it changes? How? At one point of time, having a nice plump body was considered to be good looking. Now comes the time when you have to starve yourself and look like a skeleton, then that's supposed to be good looking. Yeah. Once upon a time, sari was considered to be very good looking. Thank God it's coming back now. Then came, if you are wearing revealing mini skirt type of clothes, that's supposed to be good looking. So are we walking around, doing all this in order to search for reasons to be happy, to be peaceful, to make the world a better place? Or are we walking around with this tarazu, like this weighing scale to find out, where the world is not fulfilling my expectation so I can be unhappy? And the world is not designed to fulfill your expectation, is it? Yes, Colonel Raj.
Namaste and good morning to everyone.
Good morning, sir.
Being judgmental, I think it is inescapable with most of us, but being conscious of that is what makes you a better person than you are. Because very often our behavior, attitude towards somebody is all based on being judgmental. The initial reaction that comes from us is based on the judgment that we have. But that initial judgment, if it is coupled with being conscious, that is in allowance.
Yeah, conscious that this is only my interesting point of view.
Yes, if you that gets coupled, then your response will be more judicious, more appropriate, and makes the environment happy for that. Coming from this is what you said, magical or logical. And when Kasasai said logical magic, logically magic, yes, I thought that is right. Because magical, when you leave it to magic, that means you have no control over it. You leave it things to happen the way. But whereas logical, I feel I have a control over it. I can exercise it in such a manner to make it magical.
Well, I want you to experiment with that and find out whether it can be done that way or not. Okay. Because, if
Yeah.
you are allowing things to happen, you're in a receiving mode and more will start to happen. See, when you are trying to be logically magical, I mean, I've experimented with all these things. You can do it too. Because you're putting some conditions on the universe. Nah? See, you think about it. I mean, I'm not trying to impose my point of view on you. That if you allow the universe to do it the way the universe does it, you might have noticed that universe is quite organic, right? So let's look at an example, all right? If you go, I mean, like, you go to a forest. It's a huge garden, okay? It's thriving. Or you can create what we call as a botanical garden, which is very structured and this and that and the other. Yeah. Which one is thriving?
Natural.
Yeah, organic. In nature also,
Yeah.
if you see, the whole
Yeah.
of nature is
What
just
the universe
growing
has created.
organically.
Yeah, what universe has created naturally,
Yeah,
rather
it's just,
than what you try to create.
it is just growing, it is just evolving, right?
More sustainable.
Yeah. But somewhere, we bought this. Look, we are creatures of this environment in which we live, right? We get born into a certain environment. So nobody may be telling you consciously, okay, Raj, you should behave like this, or this is the right behavior, or what. It just is, you're born into that. So you're inheriting it. So somewhere subconsciously or wherever, I don't know, we start believing that, look, this is the way it should be. And then we are comparing everything based with that standard. It's not a standard given to us by God. Right? So okay, I mean, you can keep evaluating. Fine, no problem. There's no judgment over there. Right? When you go for an SSB interview, there are these officers who are walking around with a notebook. They're evaluating you. They're not there to find out, is this a useless fellow or a good fellow? Does he have these ABCD characteristics that we are looking for in a person who's going to lead men into battle tomorrow? Right? I've had the privilege of working with some of these people in a place called Pegasus near Bangalore. Right? It's run by all ex-SSB officers. Beautiful place. I took some corporate 8 or 9 groups there, and we used their expertise also for assessing people. Right? I was doing my training. I was using their assessment methods. It's so meticulous, right? But they are not judging people. They are evaluating. Why? Because they need a certain kind of person to join the armed forces. So if I'm going to become a priest, they will evaluate me on the basis of, do I have the qualities to be a priest, or should I be a priest at all or not? Right? When you go for your looking for a girl and they are evaluating you, this fellow has come, looking for a groom for your daughter, you will evaluate that fellow. Okay, is this the kind of boy I want my daughter to marry or not? You're evaluating. That groom may not be good for your daughter, but he may be good for somebody else's daughter. So, very beautiful point raised by Colonel Raj. So, the question I'd like all of us to ponder over is that if I switch from my automatic judging, deciding, concluding, computational mode, and I switch into the mode of serving, into allowance, into loving, yeah. So love has got certain connotations, I'm sorry to say, but I don't mean that. It's that when the guru looks at people, when a realized master, he looks at people with great love. In India, we have a word called karuna, right? I think nobody else has that word. The closest word to that is compassion. But it's a little more than that, isn't it? Anybody who can tell us the meaning of the word karuna?
Mercy, sir. In English, I would say it's mercy.
Well, it's not. Karuna is not mercy. I'm sorry to say.
Empathy.
Well, see, if you put all the words together, which you are saying,
Compassionate, little closer.
love, compassion, allowance, everything, that is Karuna. Who has Karuna for you? They say now only God has got Karuna.
Mother.
Mother always has Karuna. Thank you, Abhinav, for saying it. That's what makes her special, isn't it? Yeah, Tanmay, anything else you want to say? Kasa?
No, sorry, sir.
Why
Kasa,
not? Yes, I raise my hand. Why not be having the Corona on our own self?
exactly. You cannot have for other if you don't have on yourself, right?
Yeah,
If you're
And,
judging
the
yourself,
same-
you'll judge others also, no?
exactly. You know, if the love doesn't include the self, you know, whatever it's showing in the outer world is just, you know, more of a learned mechanism rather than the reality from the inner deeper self.
Yep. That is why they say the world is a mirror of you.
True.
That is why I say the way you see yourself is the way you treat yourself. And the way you treat yourself is the way you treat others. And the way you treat others is the way they treat you.
True.
So reality is caused by. So maybe we can just start by stopping judging ourselves at all times. So there is a world beyond right, wrong, good, bad, agree, disagree, like, dislike. And it's a wonderful, magical world, guys. Are you interested in that world? A world beyond judgment, a world beyond right, wrong, good, bad, agree, disagree, I like, I don't like, better, comparison, all that. And that is called the magical world, right? So let's start this day with love in our heart, right? And see what becomes possible when we do that. Or let's start this day with karuna in our heart, compassion, love, allowance. And let those waves of energy go out from you. And you remember that as you give, so shall you receive. So, guys, have a wonderful, magical, extraordinary day. And I'll see you tomorrow.